As of 2025, there's going to be a lot of Monkey King action figure product on the collector market. Not that there isn't already, but there was a time when you didn't have any 1/12 scale Monkey King action figures to begin with, until this studio, one of many indie studios in China, came along with this line. Now, I won't pretend to know how the design studio and factory ecosystem in China operates, but what I do know is that this incarnation of the Monkey King in plastic action figure form, launched at the dawn of the COVID years, is the OG 6-inch scale real deal figure form with soft goods clothing and even some die-cast accessories, and is based off the first representation of the Monkey King ever committed to the silver screen. So, if you want to skip ahead of the history lesson, please feel free to do so. Journey to the West, which features the Monkey King, is one of China's 4 great literary classics, along with Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Tales of the Water Margin, and Dream of the Red Chamber, and first aired on broadcast as one of the main long-form TV adaptation titles that China Central Television produced during the 1980s. It enjoyed record viewership in and outside of China, lasting 41 episodes over 2 seasons before ending in 2000. The series follows the holy pilgrimage of the Chinese Buddhist monk Tang Sanzang, who journeys west to India, seeking to bring back holy Buddhist scriptures to China. He is accompanied by 3 supernatural disciples who have all been tasked to protect him, as part of their penance for previous mistakes made during their time in heaven, against a multitude of spirits and demons wanting to devour him for the promise of immortality. Growing up in the 80s with colorful action figures from Western pop TV culture like Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, and more, it was impossible to watch something like Journey to the West and not dream of having action figures that celebrated the amazing character and costume designs that this series was packed with. The roster of villain characters alone with their magical weapon accessories would have filled many waves of toy releases, from the White Bone Demoness, Snake Lair Lady Slither, Early Bird, Scareglow, Mashup, anybody? To the Minotaur-like Bull Demon King. Yep, Marvel Legends Rintra already gives you some tooled parts. The 80s definitely inspired pop culture TV creativity across the globe, with other series like DD National's Ramayan from India, also full of colorful props and costume concepts that no doubt have influenced recent Kickstarter efforts. Although introducing real-life religious deities into action figure form kicked off even earlier with Revoltech's highly detailed Takeya collection 20 years ago. Therefore, it's mind-blowing to see how much cross-cultural religion has permeated into the mainstream pop culture space across the world. So, alright, back to this line of action figures, which consists of the 4 main characters from the story, plus a version of the Monkey King in his Celestial Sage armor. Newer 1/12 iterations of this line have since included the White Horse as well, and even a turtleback diorama in the latest version I've seen. That's a story for another time, but I'm just repurposing a Lord of the Rings horse for this review, of course, since the newest versions have not hit the market yet. As you can see, the packaging back in 2019, while looking rather elegant with its minimalist line-art design, is straight up low budget, low risk, no frills, especially when you compare it with more recent Monkey King packages that now pull in painters and more elaborate artistry into the design process. At the time, I don't think there was really any way to know what the global collector appetite would be for such specific cultural representation, which is why each package also had minimal accessories. But that doesn't mean these figures were sloppy or poorly made though. If anything, they were pretty much screen accurate to their TV reference material, since the CCTV production budget at the time could not possibly have been lavish by today's standards. Apparently, the whole of Season 1 was shot on a single Sony BVP300 camera, which I can believe, given the visual fidelity of the final product. But like the show itself, the tailorwork for the soft goods on these figures gets the job done, and fits the figure form of the various characters very well, with the sleeves sewn tightly around the wrists. So unfortunately, I can't show you what the joints look like under the clothes, except for the pixie character, as removing them and putting them back on is going to be really laborious. But you can see they have simple ball joints in most of the usual suspect areas like the neck, shoulders, biceps, and thighs. And the colors and shades for each outfit are pretty screen accurate too. There's even some fine hair detail like on the hands and on Pixie's belly. Sandy, as the porter of the group, also gets some extra pieces with the luggage and provisions. The celestial armored Monkey King even gets a white cape, while some of the weapons are actually made of die-cast metal and have a nice hefty weight and detail to them. So the design team has clearly done a good job of balancing out the budget pretty evenly across the characters. Okay, articulation is smooth and tight for different postures, and because they all share the same solid plastic feet/shoe swivel joint design, they all can stand and pose pretty decently even without the ankle joint, due to the additional weight in the feet. The tiny pegs for the wrist joints are perhaps the only thing on the delicate side that will need more TLC handling. And I was also just a bit disappointed that, of all the accessories, the Monkey King's magic stuff is the one accessory that was not die-cast metal. But otherwise, I think the production team did a really good job on putting out a set of figures that hits all the marks for the lowest possible budget consideration. I should mention that as these figures are pretty screen accurate to their real-life counterparts, each one measures around 6 inches or 15 centimeters in height, and scale pretty well with the Marvel Legends type of figures, but they'll be dwarfed by the larger ogre beast characters, which does make them very suitable and fun for typical collector photography. All things considered, with soft goods, white cape, die-cast weapons, taxes and shipping, blah blah blah, if you have a chance to get your hands on these 5 figures for about $180 like I did total, I think it's a pretty decent bargain. I suspect the older generation might have some reservations about turning religious icons into action figures, but if it helps get younger folks into exploring their own cultural history, I think it's still a respectful endeavor, isn't it? So hopefully you enjoyed this little exploration, and thank you again for your time and support towards this channel. Till the next adventure!